Hello and welcome to my channel Inspiring Life Changes. I'm here today to do a reading for the full moon in Gemini, collective reading for full moon in Gemini, which happened today on 12th the 12th at 12:12. So that's a lot of 12s in numerology. If you add all those 12s together, you get the number 3. And there is a third element within this full moon as well, because the full moon in Gemini and the opposing sun in Sagittarius is making a T-square with Neptune in Pisces. So that's quite an interesting phenomenon that's happening, this T-square in Neptune. And Neptune is probably like the third energy that's probably more important in some ways than the sun and the moon opposition, because it's a bit like if you think you've got the sun here and the moon here and they're kind of tugging on each other, causing this tension. And then you've got the kind of axis, if you like, of the T-square of the Neptune in Pisces. So the energy is kind of being directed towards Neptune in that sense. So Neptune is kind of being the bigger energy in some ways, and Neptune for me kind of represents the subconscious, the unknown element of things as well, the mystical, the kind of dream realm of things as well. So that's quite an interesting element. But the cards today are kind of giving me a bigger overall picture of what is happening for us all as we move kind of closer to the 2020 conjunction that's happening with Saturn and Pluto in January, on January the 12th, again, the number 12. And also today we have Capricorn, we have Saturn at 20 degrees. Oh no, sorry, 19 degrees. We have Venus at 20 degrees and we have Pluto at 21 degrees. So all three of them are conjuncting today each other. So you've got Saturn conjunct Venus, Venus conjunct Pluto, etc, etc. So they are all in a really tight conjunction with Venus bang smack in the middle of them both. Both of them being kind of the big malefic planets as well. So today there could be I feel a lot of breaking of relationships and a lot of kind of building, rebuilding and making of relationships as well today. And that again is kind of reflected in the cards and what the cards are kind of telling me. So without any more, I will get on with the reading and I will do the rest of the subscription and all the rest of that at the end of this reading, as I really would like to get started. So we start the reading today for the collective with the 4 of Pentacles. And the 4 of Pentacles to me is saying that we're really holding on tight at the moment. There's this feeling of having to hold on to what we have for fear that we're going to lose everything. There's almost, with this energy that's building up, there's an almost apocalyptic kind of feel about it, like, getting to something that is going to be so huge that, even people who aren't aware of what's happening astrologically are getting this kind of feeling. Everybody's kind of feeling what is happening with this conjunction coming up with, and I mean the conjunction is kind of already happening, but it will be exact on January the 12th, and that is getting closer and closer. It's kind of like a month from today really. So big energies are moving in, and I kind of feel that we're all in this kind of this place at the moment where we're all kind of trying to hold on really tightly to what we've kind of started to work for, and what we are working for. It's like we don't really feel as though we can share it. We don't really feel as though we have the ability to, maybe not even the ability, but also the time or the effort or the energy to be able to put it into anybody else or help anybody else. So we're all kind of quite I would say quite insular at the moment, kind of taking care of number one has been the kind of general feeling that I get from this card, this feeling of strong needing to keep ourselves stable, keep ourselves financially supported, and not necessarily wanting to give that out. There's a real restriction in this card, a real kind of holding, which I kind of get the feeling of quite a Capricorn, quite a Saturn energy actually, because Saturn is all about kind of restriction and holding back and not necessarily being able to share. Although that's not, I'm not saying that Capricorns are selfish and that they don't kind of give to others, because that's a very untrue statement as well. But Saturn does have this kind of feeling of needing to yeah, just this restriction, this kind of holding back, this need to hold on to what you have learnt, what you have earned, what you have kind of created for yourself. So that's the energy at the heart of the reading to start with. And then we have the challenging card, the Six of Swords. And the Six of Swords is saying to me that we are trying, because this is our challenging card, we are trying to move away from this energy. But this is what we're trying to do. We're all trying to get away from this, because we have kind of generational, I would say, that this is kind of generational in the respect of, like, you know, you look after number one, you look after those close to you, you don't kind of, you know, it's not about sharing our resources, it's very much about, you know, the insular family, the nuclear family as it's called. I like to call it insular rather than nuclear. But it's the same kind of thing. You know, we all have our own lives, we all kind of have our own cars, we all kind of, you know, we don't communicate anymore, we don't kind of, you know, unless it's online and it's a social thing, but, you know, people don't talk to each other like people used to. So this is kind of built up over generations, I would say. And I don't think it's by chance either. I think there is a kind of design behind this energy here. But it is what we feel we need to move away from emotionally. We want to be here, which is a kind of brighter, happier future. It's calmer waters, less emotional turmoil, less kind of what am I going to say here? The words that are coming into my head are less kind of aggressive and less kind of like, you know, lots of things that emotionally keep us kind of in the same place, if you like, keep us trapped, keep us kind of in this position on an emotional level as well. So we kind of just keep our noses to the grindstone and we don't kind of look around and see what's going on, the bigger picture in the world. And that is kind of what the Gemini full moon is about as well today, because Gemini, Mercury, well, full moon in Gemini is all about communication. Mercury is all about communication. Mercury at the moment is in Sagittarius, as is the sun. So there's a kind of a need to communicate and a need to chatter, a need to kind of talk things over, a need to kind of start using the mind a lot more in a bigger way, because Sagittarius is all about kind of expansion and bigger things and bigger pictures. So this card to me kind of represents that moving away from this energy into, like I was saying, into these calmer, more serene waters. but it is a challenge. It is the challenge at this moment in time. Can we do it? Can we move ourselves away from some ways in danger as well? I get the feeling that, you know, this is kind of, if we stay in this energy, then we're going to just continue losing our communities and losing our ability to communicate like human beings should, because we are social animals. I mean, that's kind of been proven with the digital world as well. You know, with the World Wide Web, we're all on there kind of putting our voices out there. So that has kind of been proven, but it's also kind of insulated us in a way as well. It stopped us from actually doing it more on a kind of one-to-one basis, and we're now much more kind of trapping ourselves again. You know, this feeling of trapping ourselves, and that does kind of come up in another card that's going to come out any minute now. So 3 cards came out with this 6 of Swords in particular. So the 3 cards that came out is the 10 of Cups in reverse. So to me, it's saying that, you know, we're not happy with our lot at the moment. We're not happy with the way our lives are in general. Because the 10 of Cups is about happiness. It's kind of like, you know, it's the real achievement. It's full feeling loved, feeling safe, feeling secure, feeling we have everything we need on an emotional basis. It's relationship orientated, emotional orientated, but with it upside down, to me it is saying that we're not in that place. We're trying to get there, and we're trying to move away from all this turbulence and this kind of, in the world, if you like, this turbulence in the world. But we're not there. And the card that came out, sorry, I'm just going to disappear for 2 seconds because I haven't switched on this switch, and it says low power mode. Sorry about that. I'm sorry about that noise as well. It was something falling down. I'll sort that out later. But I hadn't switched on my phone, and I didn't realise that. So uses up the power really quickly. Yeah, the 7 of Cups is all about our choices and how we have the decisions that we've made. Each of these cups to me represents our kind of choices, the things that we have emotionally accepted, I think is probably what I'm getting here. What have we emotionally accepted that has kind of, in many ways, not brought us the happiness that we're looking for? So we have kind of been handed these cups, and it's almost like we've just kind of just accepted them. And in doing so, we have literally ended up in this kind of feeling of being trapped, and that there isn't any way out. And we've kind of been blindsided, shall we say, by all this stuff. Which, again, kind of this stuff here is what we have been led to believe is going to make us happy. You know, all this kind of what's the word I'm looking for here? All this kind of paraphernalia, shall we say, just kind of like, you know, stuff, you know, shopping, things that we feel that we need, things that we're told that we need. If we want to be happy, we must have this. If we want to lead a fulfilled life, we must have this. And if we don't have this, then we're not going to be happy. And it's kind of like buying into the lie, if you like. Because the Eight of Swords is saying here to me that we have kind of bought into this. We have trapped ourselves in this position here and here by buying into what we believe is going to make us happy because we're told it's going to make us happy. And so there's a lot of confusion here as well because it's not making us happy and we don't know why not. But this feeling of being trapped, mentally trapped in this place of, oh, I can't survive without this, I need this, what happens if this happens? I have to have the latest and the newest and the kind of brand new, you know, it's that drive, it's that kind of, you know, nose to the grindstone because this is what you need kind of thing. This is what's going to make you happy and content. But it doesn't. It just leads to this. It just leads to this ongoing kind of feeling of discontentment within a trapped mind and trying to kind of, you know, because it's the mind, we're kind of trying to logically work out why we're not feeling good about ourselves, why we're not feeling content with what we've got. And we see here her hands are bound, her eyes are bound, so she's not being able to really be involved either. That's what I think the 8 for me, there's a feeling here that she's not allowed to be involved in the decisions that are being made. It's like it's all being made for her. And she just has to. She, he, both. Just the energies of the card rather than the actual gender before people feel that I'm being sexist. Yeah, so that's really what this card to me is saying, that there is this kind of feeling of being trapped within. And it does kind of fit in well with this card as well. A feeling as though we can't break free from this. And what we have below us in the collective reading today is the Six of Cups. All about nostalgia, all about holding on to the past, all about clinging on to what we know. Each of these cups represents to me kind of a different situation from our past, from our present relationships, reflection, looking into it, trying to work things through, yearning, wanting something more than what we have, but also kind of longing for what has been. Again, because it's cups, it relates to the water energies. The energy on emotions, which also relate to the intuitive realm as well, the feeling realm. So that's what's below us, that's what's in the subconscious realm at the moment. It hasn't kind of, it's almost like we're not aware of this yet. We haven't become aware yet of how nostalgic we're all feeling about the past. Possibly also because we are leaving this decade. This is the last full moon of the year. This is the last year of the decade, the last month of the decade, and we've only got a few weeks left before we move into 2020. So it's a totally new decade coming in. So there could be a lot of feelings of this kind of nostalgic. Things were better before whatever, before filling the gap. So these cards all came out with this card here, with this nostalgia card here. And I will read these for you as they came out one by one. We have the Five of Cups. Five of Cups reversed. If it was up the right way, it would be saying that, for me, it's always about betrayal, the Five of Cups. It's a feeling of somebody kind of not being able to emotionally fulfill your needs. And it's upside down. And with the Six of Cups, I think that's kind of what it's saying here. But this is on a collective level as well. This is also generational. And today we have, like I was saying, we have Venus, which kind of represents all the cups energy. We have Venus bang slap in the middle of Saturn and Pluto. And there has been a lot, these past couple of years, has been a lot about relationships. Making, breaking of relationships. So this to me is kind of a collective energy of us feeling kind of despair. Like, are we ever going to find love? Is there somebody out there for us? Is it just doomed? Is it all doom and gloom? Are relationships worth even trying? There can be that kind of feeling here as well. Because it's a five, it's also kind of saying it's time for change as well. Five is about change. But it is reversed. And so he's not looking at what's behind him. He's just noticing these three spilt cups on the grass. But even these two cups, because they're upside down, whatever was in these two cups will have spilt out because it's reversed. So there's just this feeling of kind of almost like giving up on love. Almost like, yeah, just give up on love. What's the point? What is the point? Which I kind of feel this card represents as well, in the sense of, you know, am I just safer to be on my own? Does it make more sense for me to just be alone? And the card that's come out after the Five of Cups, very much about our wounded heart. Collectively, our hearts have been deeply wounded over the years, generationally as well. Lots of breakups in marriages, lots of breakdown of family life, lots of intimate relationships that have kind of ended up feeling broken, stabbed in the heart. And it kind of goes very much along with this energy as well. But what came out after this Three of Swords is the Chariot, which is an interesting card because this is about kind of head and heart balance. And it is up the right way as well. So it is kind of saying that it's time for us to move forward. It's time for us to move beyond this. Put this in the past and move forward. Because this is what the Chariot's about. It's about moving in a different direction. It's about balancing your head and your heart so that you can stay on a path that you choose and get to where you want to get to. And the Chariot is often fast energy as well. It's often when it comes in, it's kind of that decision is kind of like, right, let's go. Ready, go. And where it's going is towards the Three of Pentacles. And the Three of Pentacles is about collaboration. It's about working on something together. Again, it's that number 3. Bringing in another element. You've got the 1, the 2, the jewel here. And this is 3 as well, I suppose. And kind of the triangle again. And there it is again, the triangle. The 3 element seems to be quite important in this full moon. But this is about working together. Working as a team, working, and that can also be to do with relationships as well. But I feel also that this is about us kind of realising we have to work together. We have to move beyond this insular kind of lifestyle that hasn't really got us where we want to go. It hasn't really, you know, we're having to move away from that style of life. Of being kind of closed off and shut down to other people and their needs. Unless, of course, it involves money. Unless it involves what can we get from it. What's its worth? What's its value? So those are the energies that came out with this 6 of Cups underneath. And what's in our head and what we are aware of. Sorry, I've been burning sage, so it's a bit smelly. Better. The Fool. A leap into the unknown. And I think this is kind of the Neptune quality as well that I was talking about earlier. The 3rd energy today that is playing out between the opposing sun and moon. Neptune. Trusting, leaping into what we don't know. Getting away from what we do know. This kind of cave here to me is the subconscious realm. This is our kind of inner, the inner realm, which is very Neptunian, because Neptune is all about the inner realm. It's all about the subconscious. It's all about unknown, psychic, spiritual. And this bird sitting here on this branch, the eagle, has the ability to rise above and see the bigger picture. So this is a great card to have come out, what's in our head and what we're aware of, kind of collectively, if you like, as this energy builds up, is that we need to take a leap into the unknown. We need to be brave. We need to trust our instincts. And trust is the big issue with this card, really. It is about trusting something bigger, something beyond ourselves, something that is much kind of more... I suppose what I really want to say is kind of trust the universe, trust the kind of quantum field energy that is moving us towards something else. Trust the fact that everything has to change. Trust the fact that you can't stand on the edge of this cliff and wait forever. There needs to be something new. And the Fool is all about bringing in something new. It's the start. It's the very beginning. There is no number on the Fool card because it is the very start of the journey. And so it's really very relevant for now because it is literally saying it is time for us to take that leap into something new. Say goodbye to the old and literally leap into a new unknown world which we are going to create as we go along. Just like the Fool creates his journey as he goes down that path. Now there is a card that came out with the Fool, but I'm not going to bring it out just yet. So the card that comes in, literally, the energy that's coming in as we take this leap is the Magician. So it's like he takes this leap and he lands here at this crossroads in life. And he's kind of saying, right, okay, if you look as well, I find it quite amazing that how similar these cards are, with one hand leaping, pointing up, like he knows that's where his inspiration is going to come from, shall we say. And he also knows that he has to bring it down into the physical realm. And the Magician here is doing exactly the same. As above, so below. That's what this energy is about. This is about us manifesting our new beginning. This is literally about us bringing all our tools together after all the kind of hard work, shall we say, that we've had to go through over these last few years. And this is also about kind of letting go of that old, the generational stuff that we've kind of been holding on to for too long. And that it's now time for us to leave it behind. Let it go. Just let it go. Move away from it. So that we can start creating something new and something better. He has the Sword of Truth here. He has the Caduceus of creativity. He has this coin, which for me represents kind of bringing it all into the physical realm as well, because the coins are all about stability and physical realm, the earth energy. And then you have this cup here of emotions as well, and you can't kind of do something without the love for it. So you've got the love for it, you've got the kind of the logic and the mind of the actual idea, then you've got the passion and the fire and the creativity to make it work, and then you've got the pentacle here to bring it all into the earth realm and to make it manifest. And that's really what this card is saying here. The Fool has leapt and he's landed here as the Magician, ready to create something new for us. For all of us. This is all of us. This card here represents all of us, as it does this card here as well, in the collective. So I'm going to move on to the card of where we are at, and this is a card, Seven of Wands. Again, I feel that this is about kind of standing our ground and feeling that we are being forced into situations that we don't necessarily want to find ourselves in or be in, because it's reversed. It's kind of saying to me that it is a reluctance here. It is kind of feeling like, you know, we're tired, we've done this before over and over again, you know. The wars that we've had to fight for other people, the kind of battles that we've been made to fight for other people, and not necessarily being able to stand our own ground, in the sense of there's always somebody else telling us that we can't do this, we can't behave like this, that we're wrong. that we have to do as we're told. Other people know better. That to me is what the Seven of Wands reversed means. Other people telling us how we should and shouldn't live our lives. And there's a card that came out in between the Seven of Wands and the Magician. And that is the Ten of Swords. Yeah, reversed. Because it is a sense of feeling like we're being constantly stabbed in the back. That we do what we're told and we still get stabbed in the back. We're still not kind of being valued, I feel, as well on some level here. Ten of Swords up that way. The swords are literally falling into his back. Up this way. It's almost like we're throwing ourselves onto them. It's almost like we are willingly just allowing ourselves to be impaled by other people's. And because this is collective as well, I was saying now this is much more about the kind of power. People of power that kind of have over the generations just kind of used other humans as kind of a means to an end. And that's the card that's come out in between this. So I get the feeling that we're kind of getting fed up of this energy here. And the Magician is saying, you know, it's time to create something new here. It's time to create. It's time to manifest. It's time to work with rather than against. Work with each other. We all need to become this. We all need to become creators of our own future. So, the next card I'm going to pull out here is the card which usually represents how other people see a situation. But in this particular placement, I'm going to say it's how we're all viewing each other. And this kind of, to me at the moment, represents the Mars in Scorpio energy. Also the Moon in Sagittarius energy as well, because there's a lot of creativity in this card. There's a lot of passion, there's a lot of drive. If you see here, he's holding this world in his hand and he's kind of literally saying, I mean, this is Zeus, this is top god in the Greek pantheon. He is boss man. It is a very patriarchal system, mind you, but they do have their goddesses who are also very important and very relevant. But also this is Jupiter, who is also in Sagittarius at the moment. So Jupiter is kind of saying build that bigger dream as well. And I feel as though it's kind of very much related to this energy here with the Magician. It's like we need that fire and that passion in order to be able to create something new. That's how we're going to do it. That's how we're going to change things. Is by driving of our passion and our fire, which also at the moment is Mars. Like I was saying, Mars in Scorpio. This could also relate to a lot of making and breaking of relationships today and over the next 2 weeks, because this energy isn't just for today. It is over the next 2 weeks. So a lot of relationships are either going to be made over the next 2 weeks, or they're going to be broken over the next 2 weeks. Because this is also a sexual energy as well. So I'd say with Mars in Scorpio, be very careful if you don't want to fall pregnant. Be very careful, because this is the card of pregnancy for me. This is an indication. Very passionate, sexual, driving energy, and because it's in Scorpio, even more so. But it does also represent Jupiter in Sagittarius, which can also be a kind of bigger picture, kind of sexual energy as well, in a way as well. Fire, just this whole kind of fire thing. Mars being the ruler of Aries is also a fire energy. Driving, passionate. I also see Mars as the Chariot as well. Being driven. Sun energy. Literally, this card was kind of the card of Aries. The Chariot being the war chariot, or of course the chariot that drew the sun across the sky as well in Egyptian mythology. I believe it was Egyptian mythology where the sun was drawn across the sky. Could also be Greek mythology too. So the energy in our hopes and our fears, which we had earlier in our subconscious, is again the Three of Swords. And this really does make sense to me, because this is about trying to move away from this stabbing, being stabbed in the back again, this kind of betrayal energy. And kind of betrayal of all of us as well in many ways. This feeling of trusting something and then just kind of feeling as though we've been stabbed in the heart, rather this time. It's more in the heart. Because it's reversed again, I always get the feeling it's more kind of, rather than it happening to us, it's kind of like we impale ourselves by going along with things that don't necessarily I'm going to bring in the word karma here as well, that don't necessarily karmically have good outcomes for us. It is a sword card, it is a mind card, it is logical, it is about the thinking realm, but it is also emotions as well, because, you know, our thoughts, if you like, create our emotions. And so this is our hope and our fear. Our hope and our fear is that we're going to get beyond this. We're going to get beyond this kind of constant feeling as though we're being, our hearts are being ripped apart, and we're kind of in this situation that we can't heal ourselves. There is, however, something very cathartic about this card as well, because it is kind of almost like seeing something for what it actually is, rather than the kind of fantasy that we build up around it. So within that pain of kind of being deeply wounded and deeply hurt by a situation, it's almost like we kind of see the truth of it, like we see the reality of it. We feel the reality of it, we understand it on a different level, which can bring its own kind of healing as well. Like a bursting of a bubble of kind of, you know, the fantasy realm of what we thought was true and what we believed. Because here, in this card, this is her husband and this is her lover. And he never expected And her lover is his friend as well, so he never expected that to happen. So it can kind of be like seeing through the veil, if you like, kind of seeing things clearly, having this clarity. Whereas before we were kind of just believing that things were how we viewed them or how we wanted them to be, because we didn't want to recognize those aspects. So there can be a cleansing, there can be a healing within the Three of Swords as well. There can be an awakening to something that we have, again, I would say generationally, that we have kind of bought into. But it is about kind of, for me, impaling ourselves on this kind of energy over and over again. Okay, so the top cards all came out together. These three cards all came out together. And these two cards here are kind of connected together as well with the Devil card. So I'm going to read these like this first. So the Fool is taking this leap, which is what's in our head and what we're aware of. And then we have this energy here, which was the first card that came out as a kind of ending. And this is the energy of the Devil. This to me is the energy of Capricorn at this moment in time. This kind of needing to release ourselves from the old, from that which we are clinging on to, from that which is no longer working for us, that we need to let go. Because it came out reversed, it's also saying that there is this kind of reluctance to look at this. There is a kind of feeling of like a fear, really, a fear of not wanting to. It's almost like, you know, all right, let's put it like this. Capricorn, it's all about establishment, it's about governments, it's about institutions and things that we have come to depend on as being needed for our survival. Now, if it was up the right way, it would also be about kind of, it still is really about kind of being controlled, because these two naked human beings down here are dancing to his tune. He's got his panpipes here and he's calling the shots. He's playing the song that they're dancing to. So he's fully in control. Fully in control. But when it's reversed to me, it's saying that it's like there's an awakening to, like with this card here, there's an awakening to an abuse of power. But also, because we've become so reliant on this abuse of power that we're not quite sure how we can move beyond it. We're not quite sure how to unleash ourselves so that we can become powerful in our own right. Because this is the power system here. And it hasn't escaped my mind that today is also general election day, and in the UK. And it's just kind of continuing this same power system. But with the conjunction that is coming up between Saturn and Pluto in January, over the next few years, all of this is going to be broken down. All of this is going to be broken down. Because this is what's coming in. This new creative, it's going to be us finding ourselves standing at this crossroads, making decisions that we haven't made before, manifesting in ways that we haven't manifested before, becoming aware of things on a much bigger scale. But there is, like I say, there is this fear here in this card. Because we need to leap into the unknown. We need to leave this energy behind. And the card that came out in between is this card here, the Knight of Cups. Now the Knight of Cups today for me is kind of representing the Venus energy of wanting love, looking for love, wanting their cup filled. Here he is, he's got his cup and he's looking for somebody who's going to help him fill that cup up. Or, yeah, because it's a knight, it could also be somebody who's kind of worked on filling that cup up and now they want to share that cup with somebody else. So they're looking to, yeah, they're looking to fill that cup with someone else. Share that cup. That came out in between these two energies here. So for me, it's saying on a generational scale, if you like, because these are both major arcana cards here, either side of this. On a generational scale, we kind of have been looking for love in the wrong places. And Venus stuck between Saturn and Pluto today. It's kind of, well, it's been ongoing, but it's kind of bang on today. Is this feeling of yeah, making and breaking relationships, being dissatisfied with love as well, in the sense of how we relate to love, how we relate to it. What are our expectations from it? And there's a reason they say that as well, because with those energies, we also have these as well. I'm actually going to put them around the other way so the camera can see them as they came out. Is that right? Nope. Get it right. So this is the first energy, and then you have the Knight of Cups again in the middle, but this time he's reversed. So he's come out twice like that, literally like that. Sorry, nope. Like that. Getting confused here. There we go, like that. Fool, the Knight of Cups, the Devil, the Knight of Cups reversed, and the Hierophant. So I'm going to talk about, I've already spoken about the Devil. So the Knight of Cups in between these two, reversed, is saying to me that we just feel as though we're just making the same mistake over and over again. That love isn't fulfilling all our wishes, if you like. And we have the Ten of Cups down here reversed as well. Isn't fulfilling all our wishes. And one of the reasons that it's not fulfilling out all our wishes is because we do have this kind of romanticized view of what love should be. And what to expect from it, which isn't necessarily how love is. And in this card here, I just get the feeling that because it's come out twice, Once upright and once reversed. That Venus is going to play a really big role in this. That this energy of like fantasized romance and actual love, loving the individual, loving the person for who they are, regardless of their mistakes or their flaws or their beliefs or their how can you put it? Yeah, just kind of the reality is very different to this romanticized kind of, you know, charging in on a white horse view of damsels in distress that need to be taken care of. That's this card here. This is the kind of very romanticized kind of Arthurian almost ideal of love. Arthur and Guinevere. Whereas the reality is much more also about kind of showing all of ourselves to somebody. If we really want to have a full relationship with somebody, if we're going to offer our cup to somebody, we have to show all parts of ourselves. And that's also what the devil's about here as well. There is this part, this side of him where it's also about our hiding our kind of animal instincts and our animal urges because we're kind of embarrassed about them. We're embarrassed about still being quite animalistic in some ways. So we kind of try to hide a side of ourselves. It's almost like saying, you know, if you do that, then this is what you get. You get this wrong vision of love. You get this kind of half a vision, half of what you're looking for. But the card that comes out at the end of these cards, although there is one more card that I will talk about that now, which is the Six of Fire. Came out with these energies as well. Six of Fire, whoops, the devil behind there, and the Magician below as well. So it came out kind of bridging these energies here with the Magician. So all of those energies there. And I'm going to say that the Six of Fire is about victory. It is about success. It is about achievement, but it's also about kind of initial success and initial achievement in the in most tarot decks, shall we say. That's how the Six of Wands, Six of Fire is viewed. But for me, this is about being kind of elevated. It's about rising above this type of energy. It's about rising above our kind of... And this type of energy being also the power system, because it's upside down. The power system, it's about elevating ourselves over it. So it came out below this with the Magician here, and it's almost like, to me, what it's saying is that as we create, as we become manifestors, and as we become more ourselves, this energy is going to rise above all of this energy here. And the last card that came out, because both of these came out reversed, so it is kind of about rising above the energy of, because that's what hot air balloons do, and this is a hot air balloon. Kind of the boat for me always represents life, so it's kind of rising us above, taking us beyond into another realm, into another way of viewing things above. A bit like the, where's it gone? A bit like the eagle. A bit like the eagle. And so the reason that I've kept this for last is also because we have the energy moving away. It's the Three of Pentacles. And the Three of Pentacles to me is about taking, the threes are always to me about kind of risk taking. Risk taking, like as in you cannot achieve anything, or you can't go beyond where you are if you don't take a risk sometimes. But in this card it's also about collaboration again, because we had it come out down here as well. So it's about working together. This is about these people here giving their resources to this person. He's receiving what they are giving because they know that he can help them in the future. So although he's not in a position at the moment to be able to help them out, in the future, here he is again. In this card he's a carpenter, in this card he looks like he's a blacksmith. But basically without these people here, he would not be able to achieve. So it is, again, it's about working as a collaboration. It's about working together as a team. But this card also came out with this card here, which was in reverse. Now this is the Hierophant, which to me represents the old, the commitments that we've made in the past, the ways that we have always done things, the way that we have always been told that things are and how they work, and not to go against that. Because the Hierophant, in this card for me, the Hierophant represents tradition, religion, our faith, but our faith in something that is traditional, our faith in something that we've been told is true. We've been told this is how it is, and we have bought into it on a collective scale, one way or another. Any religion doesn't make any difference. Our faith, our religion, does it come truly from who we are, or is it something that we've been led to believe we have to listen to and chain ourselves to? But the last card that came out here, again, is the Hierophant. And for me, this Hierophant is very different to this one, because this is not your traditional Hierophant. This Hierophant is much more about, for me, it's Sagittarius. One, because it's a centaur. Also, it's the wounded healer. So it kind of represents Chiron as well. And Chiron is actually in Aries at the moment, going through the kind of wounded parts of our masculine self as well, and trying to heal the divine masculine at this moment in time, which is going to be happening over the next 7 years too, 6 to 7 years. But again, if you see here, he's in this cave and he's hiding away. But while he's hiding away, he is learning all about, this kind of represents Neptune as well, the kind of unknown, the deeper knowledge, which again is Sagittarius, so it's kind of a mixture. But the higher mind, this represents the higher mind. For me, this card here represents what would have been known as the Pontifex, the bridge between the spiritual realm and or the God realm, spiritual realm, and I would say more the God realm, because I think this is much more God related, in the sense of God being a human being, or being a person, or being a, you know, a man kind of teaching, shall we say, because that is very much how we have been taught in the past. And so this represents that to me. It represents the bridge that is in between. And people would go to this person because they believed that this person had this higher communication, shall we say, with the unknown source of all life. But over the years, this has just become another control. This has become just another way of stopping people from being who they really should be. And this came out with this as well. So the Hierophant here, for me, is much more about our own path. It's much more about the faith that we have with it, something that is much larger than us. It's about us not needing to go into a building to find it. We can find it within ourselves, and that's what this cave here is saying to me. It is within ourselves, and it is about time that we learnt that it is within ourselves. This light here represents a kind of finding our spirituality. It's a bit like the hermit. The hermit carries a lamp, and the lamp kind of represents the spirit, the soul that answers within, our divine self. That's what this represents to me. It represents our divine self, inner and outer. And the scroll here that he's holding in his hand represents to me knowledge which is yet to be learned. Things that we are yet to discover about ourselves, about our world, about our bigger universe. But there is more teaching, because this is really more of a teaching. It can be self-teaching, but it can also be a teacher that we turn to. This is more philosophy. This is more religion. So this is more about us understanding that it's the philosophy of life, the truth of life. Because this again is Sagittarian energy to me. It's higher mind, it's higher understanding. And it is also, I mean, this can also represent the galactic centre as well, which of course we've just had Jupiter go over and Venus has just gone over as well. So new messages have been brought in which are yet to be revealed. There's a new story which is yet to be brought into the light. And that's what this scroll also says to me as well. Things are yet to be brought into the light. And so, that is the reading that I have for everyone in the collective out there today that is going to watch my videos. I hope you've enjoyed it. I will put a natal free link in the description box below, so you can go and check out your own astrology as well and see what's happening, which houses you have your Capricorn stellium in at this moment in time, and where the moon and the sun are opposing in your charts, etc, etc. And also my email is in the description box below as well, if anybody would like a free personal reading, because this is kind of general collective for the bigger kind of picture really. And so if anybody would like a personal private reading with me, you can send me an email and I will get back to you on that one as well. And also my PayPal link is there, so you can pay through PayPal. And if anybody would like to give me a donation for my channel, that would be great. Please thumbs up my video, please tap the bell so that you can get future videos, and please subscribe to it because I am trying to grow my channel. Anybody who has subscribed to it, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. And if you feel that you want to share this reading with everybody, or anybody out there that you think may be interested, go ahead, please do. I will really be grateful for that. And on that note, I'm just going to say have a happy full moon in Gemini and stay safe. Take care.